Okay, Assalamualaikum and hello students. So we're back on our lessons for today. Okay, so for today's lesson, teacher will teach you about past tense. So, what is past tense? We usually heard that past tense is used to describe um, what we have done in the past and what has already happened. Okay, that is we know about past tense, right? But in past tense, there are actually many types of it. Okay, do you know? Okay, if you don't know, I will proceed this learning session to explain what is past tense. Okay, so okay, before we started our learning lessons for today, okay, overall this lesson's objective is to make sure teacher students be able to write the paragraph of writing essays using the past tense sentences, and also if you concentrate and pay full attention to our teaching lessons today, you will learn effectively on how to use past tense to describe what you have experienced in your life in your essays, because today we are going to do task writing essays about your experience. So when it comes to your experience, it means that what have you experienced is already in the past, is already happened. So that is why you need to pay attention to these lessons today, as you will learn more knowledge and you can apply it in doing your task later. Okay, so what do you know about past tense? Earlier, teacher said that past tense is what we use, what we assert to describe what have happened in the past. But it is not the accurate terms of past tense. Okay, so this is the exact meaning of past tense. So, past tense is a verb that are used to indicate an action, event, or conditions that has happened in the past. So, each tense has four aspects that talks about the completion of the event and actions, which mean past tense is not only past tense, but inside of the past tense there are four types of past tense to describe and to use what is past tense. Okay, so to simplify these definitions, like as teacher said before, past tense are verbs that we use to indicate an action. I mean what we do, verb, our what we do in the past, what we do that already, what we did, something like that. Okay, so we move on to the types of past tense. Okay, so as I have explained before, there are four types of past tense, which are simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. These are the types of past tense. Okay, so can you remember all of these types of past tense? Because each of these past tense carry out their own grammatically and vocabulary to be used in your sentences. Okay, even though past tense is just a past tense, but you cannot use them wrongly. Each of the sentence that you want to turn it into past tense need to be described in these four aspects of past tense. Okay, we move on to this next slide where I will explain each of the past tense types. Okay, so for the first one is the simple past tense. Okay, simple past tense is, I think, teachers think the most easier types of past tense, and usually students always use it in their writing task. Okay, so the simple past tense is used to indicate or to describe something that had happened or existed in the past. Every past tense is related to what has happened and related to the past, what has already happened. Okay, to formulate the simple past tense verb, we added ed, which words that we added ed for words for verbs that describe past tense in the past, whereas we add d only for words that already contain e at the end of the words itself. Okay. However, for simple past tense, there are some simple past tense verbs such as cut, put, and set are in the same. It means even though you use it as a present tense or a past tense, these three words are not changing. They are remain the same. Okay. So we go to the example of past tense. He worked at the cheesecake factory. He worked. So worked is the past tense. Why we add ed? Because the origin of the words, the root of the word work is work, and then the word work was not end with e. So every word that not end with e, we need to add ed at the back. Okay. The second example of simple past tense is I often brought my lunch to school. I often brought my lunch to school. It describes that me always bring my lunch to school. I always bring, but instead of saying that has already happened in the past, I always carry food, my lunch to schools every day. So bring is the root of brought. Not all simple past tense need to add d and ed. Okay, some of it have their own rules. Okay, we move on to the next types of simple past tense. We move on to the next types of past tense. Okay, the second one is past continuous tense. Okay, so past continuous tense is used to indicate an ongoing event in the past. The past continuous tense is formed using the past tense of the verb to be, which is was and were. Was and were are verb to be, and the present participle verbs that ending in ing. So verb to be and the present past participle verbs, these two tenses can be used together to indicate that an action happened while another was in progress. Okay, so we move on to the examples. He was walking nearby. So he was walking. He is walking. He was walking nearby. So was is the verb to be plus the root walk plus ing, and it is combined as past continuous tense. Okay, the second example is they were painting the window. They were painting the window. Once again, were is a verb to be plus the root of paint plus ing. So verb painting is a past continuous tense. Okay, the third types of this past tense is the past perfect tense. So past perfect tense in a sentence or conversations describe an event that happened in the past before another event in the simple past tense was completed in the past. Okay, it sounds so confusingly. Okay, it means the past perfect tense is formed with the past tense of the auxiliary verb, which is had. Had is auxiliary verb, and the past participle of the main verb. Okay, so we look at the examples. I cannot zoom. If I zoom it, the video will crack. So okay, the example is Minu had borrowed money from the bank to buy a new car. Okay, what is the past participles inside it? Past perfect tense inside the examples. Okay, the the uh, the past perfect tense that contains in the examples just now is had borrowed, which had is an auxiliary verb plus borrow plus ed, and when all of the three things are combined, it became the past perfect tense. The second one is we had cleaned we had cleaned up the terrace before the watchman arrived. Had cleaned. Had is the auxiliary verb plus with clean plus ed, and the three forms will make the past perfect tense. Okay, and the last types of past tense is past perfect continuous tense. What is the past perfect continuous tense? Oh, it's getting difficult and hard, but I will explain to you guys about past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so these types of past tense is used to describe actions that were going on in the past up until another actions in the past happen. Okay, this tense is formed with the past perfect tense of the verb to be, which is had been, and the present participles of the verb ing. So it means how to identify the past perfect continuous tense is the use of verb to be, which is had been, and the additions of present participles of the verb ing. Okay, so we look at the example. Okay, I had been studying. I had been studying. I had, which is I had been, which is the verb to be, plus study, the root of the word, plus ing. So these three forms makes past perfect continuous tense. The second example is it had been raining hard for several hours and the streets got flooded. It had been raining. Had been is the verb to be plus rain plus ri plus, had been plus rain plus ing, and the three forms of this makes past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so are we clear? Clear? Okay, the difference of these four is just like simple past tense. They use ed, they use d at the end of it. Maybe they exchange from bring to was. Okay, for the past continuous tense, they use the verb to be was and were plus the root of the word plus ing. That is for the past continuous tense. And for the past perfect tense is we use had plus root of the word plus ed. That is the formula. And the last one, past perfect continuous tense, is we use had been plus root of the word plus ing. Okay, it is easy to recognize each of the past tense. So this is the end of the lesson for today. We move on to the activities. As teachers have said before that students are going to write an essay about your experience. So when we talk about our experience is what already happened in the past, right? So this is a picture of traveling. So each of the students need to write an experience about this one, traveling, in a formative essays. Okay, which write an essay approximately 3 to 4 pages about your experience in traveling and shopping. Which place do you like the most? Okay, don't forget to apply all of the past tense types in your writing essays. So that's all for today's lesson. I hope students will gain more knowledge and about past tense, and don't confuse about past tense, as teachers have already explained that each of the types of the past tense is really to recognize. Okay, so that is all for the lessons for today. Thank you.